first 16 months in real estate, you did 0 deals, made no money. Your first deal came July 2023. And then from there, it went from 9 million your first year, 31 million 2024, and now you're at 27.5 million year to date.
The easiest way to grow an audience is by posting about the stuff that has nothing to do with real estate. It's just the stuff you share with your friends, things to do, restaurants, bars. In most major cities, that is an endless stream of ideas. YouTube, social media, it's the easiest way to sell without selling. I don't have to act salesy to convince people to work with me.
I want to talk about one of the more interesting deals that came from social media, the $4.5 million buyer from Instagram.
So there was actually a seller who reached out to me first. They had seen some videos of mine about differences between Marin and San Francisco on YouTube and on Instagram.
First 16 months in real estate, you did 0 deals, made no money, and then your first deal came July 2023, and then from there it went from like 9 million your first year, 31 million in 2024, and now you're at 27.5 million year to date.
Yep.
So I want to talk about like one of the more interesting deals that came from social media, the $4.5 million buyer from Instagram. Can you talk about that?
So there was actually a seller who reached out to me first. It was an older couple moving from Marin back to the city. And they had seen some videos of mine about like differences between Marin and San Francisco on YouTube and on Instagram. So they reached out to me about potentially selling their property. They tried to sell it before with somebody else, didn't sell. So met with them and kind of obviously they'd seen like the things that I do a little bit differently from like a video perspective, but just wanted to learn more about it. So met with them for a while. It was nice. It was 2 blocks from my house. So like I actually, obviously knew the neighborhood very well and connected with it and could just kind of talk about it in a more, I guess, authentic way, and like convey that through the type of marketing that I did. So I ended up getting that listing, which was really exciting. My like largest listing to date. And it was cool that it came through my videos and, did a bunch of different types of videos for it. But the one, we actually found the ultimate buyer through one of my videos. It was a long form, like tour of the house. I forget how long it was. It was probably
like 24 minutes.
It was pretty long, 25 minutes, something like
24
that.
24 to 29.
Yeah. And so the house had a really cool story. It was, 125 years old. They completely like down to the studs renovated it. It was a multi-unit building, but it had a lot of really cool like historic features, even though it was very modern, and it was just in an awesome location. It was right by the park and grocery stores. It was just like the perfect thing to talk about, to highlight like the neighborhood as much as like the house itself. So I kind of wanted to tell like the story of the house, but also just the lifestyle that you get living where I live, which I love. It's my favorite part of the city. So posted that, and we actually got 2 offers on that property within 6 days. And both of the buyers who submitted offers actually saw that video on YouTube. So, and like the person who ultimately bought it, they had just bought something else in the area. So like they weren't looking for anything. They just happened to see the video and fall in love with the house. So they came to see it and they ended up buying it, cash. We got full price offer. It was great. So they were obviously very happy. And it was like just great proof of concept, because you hear from a lot of people in the industry and out of it, like there's always a question whether this type of stuff actually works. Like, does it attract people at, higher end price points where a lot of people want to be? And, I think that there are tons of people, obviously, at all different levels of wealth that are engaging in and consuming content just like everybody else is. And I thought it was just cool that both the sellers of this place and the buyers found it through those, I guess, like non-traditional means. So it's definitely proof of concept for, potential listings and stuff going forward, which is great. but just, proof that this type of stuff works, which is cool.
Yeah, and I want to talk about like your YouTube and that 25-minute video in a second, but like you have 40,000 followers on Instagram roughly now, and I think roughly a little over 18,000 on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely got started on Instagram, and that you've kind of built to be a huge thing. So I want to get to that first. But first, like, how old were the sellers? Like, just age range?
They were probably late 50s, early 60s. Like they're definitely older. But I have found a lot of people coming, especially from YouTube lately, who are significantly older. A lot of retirees, and a lot of people who like want to be in San Francisco, like as a retired person, just because there's a lot to do. A lot of them have like moved to the suburbs, kids, better schools, whatever it is, but the kids are gone and they're like, I'm bored. I want to be near restaurants and whatever. And I've got a lot of like 60, 70 plus year old retirees, divorcees, like whatever it is, like reaching out to me specifically through YouTube, Instagram as well. But YouTube in particular, I feel like there's, maybe a growing like audience in that like older sector from there.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact alone, you got a $4.5 million listing as like a newer agent from Instagram. Like when you stack up those things, like wealthier clients and then older, there's just a lot of like, I don't know if misunderstanding is the right word, but just people don't think the 50, 55 plus are on social media, or the people who are looking for a $4.5 to $7.5 million home aren't on there. Kind of like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think they're not on there to look for those things. They are just engaging in content, I think, in the exact ways that like you and me would be. We want to be entertained 20 minutes before bed. We need something to do. Like we're on the couch watching a boring movie, like whatever it is, we're just scrolling. But sometimes things pop up that we don't think that we want, but we actually do want. And it kind of just spirals from there. So it's not really like that. I don't believe that they are necessarily, YouTube maybe more so because it's a little bit more intentional, but like Instagram is just showing stuff to people.
Yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily seeking or like performing their housing search on Instagram. But if a video is done the right way and it can engage people in the right way and connect people in the right way, you can get people from that platform at any price point, I think. And, there are people in other markets who are selling much more expensive houses through TikTok, through Instagram, through YouTube, whatever. It definitely works. These people are out there.
Yeah. And I want to dive into like your Instagram. But first, why someone who's like a former lawyer, worked partner for a massive law firm, like why'd you even get into content as a new agent?
It was, so like when I started, like I have a good resume. I'm a smart guy. Like people know that I'm a smart person and capable, but like everybody who knows me knows that I just started doing this. And, I live in an area where housing is extremely expensive. Yeah. And like I might be the smartest person in whatever, or a very smart person, and people might think that I'm extremely smart, but are they going to necessarily hand me their $3, $4, $5 million house when they know that I've literally never done this before? Like I probably wouldn't do it. So I wasn't expecting my business to, at least in the beginning, come from the people who knew me, just because they knew I didn't really know what I was doing at the beginning. So I was like, okay, well, like, how do I get myself out there? And there are a million ways that new agents get started and put themselves out there, be it door knocking or open houses or, farming. And there's so many different things. But I was like, I didn't want to spend the money, because I was like, I have no idea how long it's going to take for me to make money. When I get these things in the mail, like I'm not necessarily connecting with them, and maybe it's because they're not done the right way or whatever. But in my head, I'm just like, I'm not going to do that because I don't like when I receive these things. So I was like, what can I do? So that's when I started kind of doing more research into the potential to do this business successfully through content. And it was a way to engage people who had no clue who I was. Like, they could know that I was a former lawyer. That's great. I want them to know that. But they don't know that I've only, unless they go on LinkedIn and actually look, like, they don't know that I've only been doing this for X amount of time.
Yeah.
As long as I know what I'm talking about, and or at least can portray that I know what I'm talking about. And at that time, I lived in the city for like 9 years. I know the city.
Yeah.
If I could talk about it in a more, kind of just an educated way and kind of provide information clearly to them, then I was like, I think this can work. And it's a lot longer of a ramp up when you do like something like this versus, if you're at an open house talking to people or whatever, it's a little, you can get business a lot faster. I just don't like doing those things for various reasons. I prefer to do this. And I thought that the long-term trajectory of building something like this was exponential.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And what I've like heard, like you've done hundreds of videos at this point, and I've even talked to people who are like 20 to 30 years in the business, and a lot of the times they say like when they make videos, they're having to like learn things differently and get better. It ends up making them like a better realtor too.
Yeah. I mean, especially when I started, like, the content creation process was my way to just learning about parts of the city that I didn't really spend much time in, learning about a particular building, like what things sell for in this building, what amenities are available, who the developer was, the architect, what issues are present in this building versus others, what new restaurants are opening in different parts of town, what's going on in the market, what happened with, like, why did condo prices fall X% over this period of time, and why are they going up now? I'm learning all of these things just like anybody else is learning these things as they happen. But when you put it on video and you are writing it down in a script and then you are speaking it, like, you figure out the clearest way to communicate it, and you can just regurgitate that information a million times in a bunch of different conversations. Like, I know what's going on in the condo market, but I can actually talk about it because I already have talked about it. So I can say things that I've maybe said in a video, maybe they haven't seen it. They reach out to me to talk about what's going on. Maybe they want to buy something. I've already done that homework. I don't need to like prepare for it. So it was a good way just starting out to like learn everything, and I just communicate it publicly as I'm learning it too.
Yeah. And talking about like the Instagram and like the topics, the process for the videos that you create, few people know that like a couple years ago, you were one of the first to do the green screen reels. Brandon talked to you, learned your process, repeated it, and then other people learned from like Brandon, and it's now kind of gone like pretty viral in the last like year or two within the real estate industry. Can you talk about like, I think it would surprise people how long it takes you to make a video first?
Well, now it's fast. I mean, like, especially if it's a topic that I know, like, I just need to grab some images. I can script something, film it, and edit it, and have that done in 20, 25 minutes. Like, that does not take long. But my first reels that I was making when I first started, like, legit took 2.5 hours. Like, when I was a lawyer, like, I talked for a living. Like, I know how to speak, but you put a camera in front of somebody and they're just like, they
freeze up.
They just freeze. There's something about the camera that just takes people out. And I was the same way. And it took forever to do that stuff. But you get reps, you get faster. If it's a topic that I need to research, it can take a lot longer. But the actual like creation process, the filming, the editing, it's quick and dirty. Like, I used to do it in TikTok, and then they changed, like, their watermark is on all their videos when you download them in drafts. So I use CapCut now. It's not a fancy process, and you could do it in 20 minutes. Like, if a news story pops up that is like very pressing, that I know I should be posting about and people would be like expecting me to post about, I'll just film it in, 20 minutes and get it out the door. And it doesn't need to be nice. Like the green screen is ugly. It's really ugly. But on like an Instagram, TikTok, 45-second, 1 minute video, like it doesn't need to be fancy. You just got to get the information out there. And just like news, like you want to be one of the first people talking about these things. People are more likely to share it with people if this is new, like they haven't heard it before. But if they've already heard it 10 times, they're just gonna, scroll back. So you try and be like timely and on topic with these things, but it's quick and dirty.
And it comes across a little more like raw and natural when it's not like perfectly edited and perfectly done too.
Yeah,
So,
agree, 100%.
Can you, if you had to lay out like the steps of how you create a green screen, what would be like the basic like overview of that?
So I use Canva so like usually I will try and stack like 3 images like vertically. So like let's say it's about a new building that's going up and there's like renderings of it. I'll just have 3 images stacked vertically. I'll download that image, and then in CapCut there's just a green screen like function. You don't need an actual green screen. You just press green screen and click on the photo and it just will appear behind you as if you are using a green screen. And you can resize and move your head around. You can do whatever you want, and you just film it right there. And if you mess up, you just exit out and redo that take. Like I memorize, like I don't use a teleprompter. I script everything out like word for word. I'm not the type that can do like outline bullets. Like I need every word on paper, and I will just memorize like 1 or 2 sentences at a time and then say them to the camera, go back, look at it, memorize it, say it to the camera, and then like splice it all together. It looks like I have memorized it, and just set it straight through, but definitely you don't. And it's great. You can just, I mess up every single take. You can undo that take without undoing all the other takes. So it makes it really easy if you just break it up into little sentences.
Nice. Is there anything that you learned about like, do you just obsess about like the first sentence of the video?
When I'm like doom scrolling at my house and my fiance is sitting next to me, like, you don't even watch the video. Like I'm literally swiping like instantly. I'm like, I know what I want to watch. Like I can already tell that I don't want to watch this. So like I create the short form at least with that in mind. Like, would I not just swipe past this in an instant? So it's the first, like even 1-2 seconds, like 3 seconds really for probably most people. Like most people don't just instantly swipe, but it's very fast. So I try and say like the most interesting, like high level thing about whatever it is I'm talking about first. And then I kind of back up and break it down. So it's like kind of like a headline, and then you have like all the detail in the actual article. Like most people just read headlines and move on with their life. So I try and structure it with like the headline being the most important thing, whether it's some crazy amenity or, maybe the owner has a crazy story. It might have nothing to do with the actual, like if I'm doing a property tour, it might have nothing to do with the actual house itself. But yeah, I think that's like the most important part, because if they're swiping after 2 seconds, then it doesn't matter how great the video is. They're not going to see it, and the video is not going to do well.
Yeah, the hook is ultimately the most important part, and then after that, it's like the details. You can kind of say some of the stuff, and you don't have to say every single detail.
Right.
So, and the quick and dirty, like you use your iPhone, a light mic.
Yeah, for the green screen, I film on my iPhone, front-facing camera too, because I have to see myself.
Not even the back face.
Not even back-facing. For the green screen, it's the front-facing camera. I don't even have a mic on those because it's right in front of me and it sounds fine. I have a ring light and like a gimbal that it's on a little tripod that I hook it onto. So like anybody can do that easily.
Yeah.
Like it's really quick and dirty.
That's like just thinking through it all. Your iPhone, no real mic, a gimbal, a light. You edit it now in like 15, 30 minutes. and hundreds of videos, and you're getting listings and luxury buyers and sellers from Instagram.
Yeah, it takes time. Like that's not
Yeah.
going to happen immediately, but like over time, you like anybody who I believe that anybody who is consistent with it and is putting out like the right type of content, like it can't just be about real estate. It has to be about other things too, so that you can actually grow an audience. You can get business from it, and it will lead to other things as well. Like it's like creating a giant network for yourself. That's kind of like how I view it, at least.
So talking about the right type of content for Instagram, if you had to bucket the types of videos that you create, what would those buckets be?
I would say like the least common thing that I post is like a house tour. I try and do a few a month, I would say. One a week would be great, but I don't even think I do that. Just because at the end of the day, like I am in real estate and I want people to know that I work in real estate and that this is like my job and I actually am good at it. But like the real estate focused stuff about like buying or selling related things, that's like the smallest bucket. The rest of it is what is going on in San Francisco. Is it a story about what we're seeing in the office market? Because the changes in the office market are like really what led to, among other things, to like the corrections that we saw, the downward corrections that we saw in the city, like during the pandemic and immediately after the pandemic. It's stuff that like I want to know about, like what new restaurants are opening, what new bars are opening, new clubs, new car meetups, like whatever it is. Just it's more about just like lifestyle stuff than the real estate stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have to. I think it's very hard. It's doable. I've seen people do it, but I think it's really hard to like grow your audience if you're strictly focused on like house tours or like stuff that's buyer or seller related, because 99.9% of the people who are watching that, they're not in the position where they're looking to buy a home today. There are some people who are, for sure, but it's more like I just want people in my system, and maybe they're 20, but when they're 28 and they've been watching me for 8 years and they see me literally every day, they'll hit me up when it is their time. Same thing with selling. They might have just bought something. They're not going to be selling something for the next 5 years, but they see like the audience that you create and you grow and what you can do, they will eventually hit you up. I think like the easiest way to grow an audience is by posting about the stuff that has nothing to do with real estate. It's just like the stuff you share with your friends, things to do, restaurants, bars, and there's, in most major cities, that is an endless stream of ideas. Like coming up with ideas is the hardest part, I think, of this, at least for me. But if you just read the news for 30 minutes a day, you will learn so much about what's going on, and you can just convey all of that.
I think you had a really good soundbite there. It's like basically you're creating content that like you would share with your friends.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like when I'm like selling a house, it's not just about like it's this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. Like you're selling a lifestyle, you're selling the neighborhood, you're selling like you're trying to envision like who is using this property. You're selling the lifestyle of what it would be like to live here, and so much of that has nothing to do with the house itself.
Yeah.
It's what parks are you by? How close are you to either like easy transit or the office, or how easy is it to get across the bridge so you can go to Napa for a day, or go hiking in Marin for a day, or go golfing, or go do whatever. Like it's almost the least about the house itself, unless there are like really unique aspects of the house that you do want to highlight, because that is important, but it's more just lifestyle. So my goal with content is just to talk about lifestyle in general. Housing is a part of your life, but it is not all of your life.
I was listening to a podcast on the way this morning, and one of the things that they talked about was like when it comes to being like a creator and a business owner, if your life is just solely around the business, a lot of the times your content will be a little more boring too, because it's like if you're not doing these things, like you're actually doing a lot of this stuff, like you're checking out the parks, it's stuff that you do normally, and you're kind of just sharing it too.
Yeah, like I love to eat like a lot.
Same.
So like new restaurants, like one of the biggest benefits of living in SF, there are a lot of downsides, but one of the upsides is food. The food scene here is insane. And I try and eat as much as I can, new restaurants as much as I can. I want to know what's opening soon, or what new chef is opening this new concept in this building or whatever. And I'm not the only one who wants to know these things.
Yeah.
Not everybody cares, but a lot of people care. So that's the type of stuff that I like to share. And like a lot of people ask me if that piece of it generates business. And it definitely does, but that's not the intent of that stuff. It's just putting it out there for people to ingest. It's information. People appreciate the information. But like I've posted a video about like this small like little hole in the wall restaurant before that just opened that like it completely blew up. It was just a super popular place, lines out the door all the time. I posted about it as well because everybody was posting about it. I tried it. It was also good. So, and that was like maybe a year ago. And I would go there. I'd see the owner every once in a while, chit chat. He watches my videos. Like he appreciated that I posted about the restaurant, and he hit me up 2 weeks ago to buy a place. So it's like that was not my intent. I'm not like targeting the owner of this hole in the wall restaurant to potentially buy something, but like you just develop a relationship with someone just kind of organically through a post like that, and it can lead to things. Or like they're not in the market, but everybody has friends or family, and like they've seen what I do, they will send my stuff to them, or it leads to business in so many different ways. And like that's just how I've grown the audience. Eventually these people who have been following me for 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is, like they're going to move at some point. And if 0.1% of my followers reaches out to me, I'm doing very well from like a sales standpoint.
Yeah. We sometimes want with everything, like the magic pill, it's like, what is the secret content that will generate business? And it's not like one thing. It's kind of a conglomerate of a lot of things. And it's like you're just building this ecosystem of like people who are interested in you, interested in what you talk about, because they're interested in the same stuff too.
Yeah. Everybody wants to know what's happening where they live. Everybody cares if the city is evolving, devolving, things to do. Like everybody has a life and they care about where they choose to live it. So that's kind of what I put out there. The real estate stuff is important. Market updates, they don't do the best, but they're important. House tours, sometimes they do great. Sometimes they totally flop, but they're still important. It's just not the bulk of the content. And in my view, it should not be.
Yeah, it should just be like the 20%, whereas everything else is like the 80%. And I also feel like you're one of the first to like the development content, the stuff talking about like the future of the city, all of the stuff that's changing, evolving, and now a lot of people are starting to do that too. Like one, what got you into it, and then what do you think about that? Because it looks like it performs some of the best too.
I think it performs among the best. I like it just because I like design, I like architecture, so I like seeing just what is being built. But like when I got into the business, like San Francisco was like in the height of its decline during the pandemic. This was like early 2022 is when I actually got my license. And all you see on the news were people just shitting all over any aspect of San Francisco. And like part of why I got into content is like showing that like it is still actually a really great place to live. Like for sure there are problems. And like one aspect of that is showing like who is investing in the city. You have like some of the literal biggest developers in the world creating these insane new like concepts, new communities, like that matters. And that's a signal, at least to them, of like what the trajectory is of the city. So like I want people to know that there is a ton of investment happening in the city, VC investment, development investment, and how like how we use space is changing, like what it means to own an office building. Like what does the office look like now? Like we're all these developers are focusing on like these crazy super luxury spaces, high-end amenity spaces. Like they are figuring out ways to get people outside of their house because people don't want to leave their house. Like I don't want to leave my house, but I need a reason to. And I think like retail, they're doing the same thing. Like we can shop online. We don't need to go to a store to do anything. But if retailers are able to create a new type of experience to get us out, it will be successful. So the development stuff is it's more like personal interest, but also like seeing what is happening and what's coming for the city.
Yeah. And it doesn't really matter like what city. SF is one of the bigger cities, but like every city has retail and commercial development.
Yeah.
So you're just being the person who talks about it, being kind of like the digital mayor in a way.
Yeah. And if your city, like maybe you live in a suburb or you work in a suburb and your suburb doesn't have a lot of that going on, well, there's still, in most cases, and definitely not in all cases, but in most cases, there's still some, like everybody needs businesses. And there's probably an urban center relatively close that people are going to for nights out or work or whatever it is. So like even if you only work in this suburb, like somewhere in Marin that maybe doesn't have as much going on, like one of the best amenities of living in Marin is being close to the city. It's being close to San Francisco. So all the things that are happening in SF are still directly relevant to your locale and people who live in that locale, even if that stuff is not happening directly in your market. And you might reach people who live in SF and eventually leave because they want the suburbs, they want good schools or whatever it is. So there's a lot of like crossover, I think, between like the urban and suburban. It doesn't have to be like you want to be like very hyper local, but that doesn't necessarily, it's not just like your literal geography. It's like what actually matters to your like local residents.
Yeah, it helps to pull from like the magnet. Sometimes if like SF, the city is the magnet and you work in Marin, there's pulling from that from an audience perspective. People move outside of the city into more of the suburbs like Marin and stuff. So
yeah. And there's like, I mean, from a business standpoint, there's like a lot of good referral opportunity too. Like I don't work in certain places, but people looking there who currently live in the city hit me up because, you know, they follow me or they see my stuff. And I'm like, well, I know, you know, some great people who live in XYZ area and like do great business there. Like I can put you in touch. And that generates business for me as well. It's not just, again, like that's not my goal, but that happens too. So it doesn't necessarily have to lead directly to somebody buying or selling something with you.
yeah, and kind of talking about that, like leading directly, a lot of people would probably be surprised. One, as a new agent, you're just winning listings, but then also higher end listings, and then from Instagram. So, in your eyes, why do you think, or how do you think you're getting listings as like a newer agent? You're not as new now, but
I think it's showing listings in a different way. If you at least this has been my experience, if you look at any group of real estate agents, either marketing or social media or whatever, 99% of it is exactly the same. It's, probably a silent house tour or there's some music over it. You're not learning anything about the house that you wouldn't otherwise already know from reading the description on Zillow or Redfin or whatever. So for me, it was trying to just level that up. Like, what can I say about this house that will get people to engage with this house tour that otherwise would be pretty boring, just in a different way than what everybody else is doing. So just having a voiceover on the tour, which takes extra work. You have to do some research. You got to script it out. You got to film record your voice and edit it together. It's more work, but it just adds a layer that most people are not doing. And you can talk about things in a different way. Like I can talk about why this is great from a lifestyle perspective, or I can talk about why this owner is particularly important, and you wouldn't get that from a listing description. There's just things that you can do when you're actually talking that kind of level it up. So I think that, and then I think just being like constant, like omnipresent in these people's lives. Like I get people all the time telling me that they are fed so much of my content. Like they see me all the time and I'm like, great. Like that's what I want. And like, I just want people to automatically associate me with these things. And not everybody's going to, I'm not going to, but there are people who definitely will resonate with it and will hit me up. And it's a very easy conversion process at that point. You still have to, you're still sort of like every day is like a pitch. And like what's been great is like they just ask to work with me in most of these cases. Some people are still interviewing multiple people, and I always tell people they should, but some of them are just like, I want to list my house. Can you sell it? Sure. And there's no legwork involved. All the legwork has been done already for the last X number of years that I've been doing this. It's just the concept has been proven. I can show people that I am selling, including through these means, through YouTube, through Instagram, through whatever, and it's done. I don't have to tell them anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the most underrated thing is like you're putting in the work ahead of time so that when they come to the table, it's just like an easy yes at that point.
Yeah, nobody cares about, I'm sure they care, but nobody asks about my experience. Nobody asks if I am paying attention to what is going on in the market or if I can explain what's going on in the market as much, because I do that on a regular basis and they've already seen it. It's just it's a constant evolving like resume effectively, and they can, even somebody that's brand new who hasn't watched a bunch of my stuff but maybe is sent it by a friend, like they can just go on my whatever channel they want and look at what I am doing, and it's just like an automatic authority building mechanism effectively.
Do you have an email database, but you struggle staying consistent with your email marketing? Email marketing is still one of the most under-leveraged marketing platforms, yet it has the highest return on investment. For every dollar you spend, you get 36-to-1 ROI. So if you want to profit more from your marketing, you need a local email newsletter. So that's why we created the local email newsletter playbook that breaks down Ryan Snaden's entire Naptown Scoop playbook and how he built it from 0 to 30,000 email subscribers and makes over $320,000 every single year. It breaks down his entire strategy, and not just for his local newsletter, but also how he grew the media company to over $500,000 every single year. It goes through his content strategy, how he grew. It goes through his entire team, how he hires, his monetization, everything. So if you want the $320,000 local email newsletter playbook, click the link in the description below. Download it now. It's completely free. It has over 21 pages behind how he built his entire media company. So click the link in the description and download now.
Can you talk about like the $7.5 million deal that has kind of come on the table as a result of it all?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to just people questioning whether wealthy individuals are on these platforms, and if that is a way for like real estate agents to get high end business. Like I have somebody who is thinking about moving to Los Angeles who lives in SF, and they have a house that will probably sell for around 7.5 million. And they reached out to me to list it. They're not ready yet. There are things that their family needs to do before they move, but they DM'd me on Instagram, and we've just started having that conversation, and I'm in regular contact with them about, comps that have sold that are similar, to their house that they will eventually sell, or what's going on in that sector of the market. And they just reach out to me randomly to ask questions about things like, whether I ultimately end up listing that property is complete TBD. They may go with somebody else or not sell at all, but like the conversation is happening. And I've had other conversations with people looking up to, for $10 million houses. And I have conversations with people looking in the very high end space. And there are a lot of very wealthy, famous people who engage and interact with my content. Like I look at who is looking at my stuff, liking it, commenting, whatever. And these are people with 9, 10 plus figures in wealth. So like you can get that higher end engagement and potential business from these platforms.
Are you comfortable maybe saying like one crazy person you're like, I can't even believe they're like following me or they saw one of my stuff? Or
Sharon Stone was a pretty big one. And she's I don't know if she still lives here, but she used to have like a huge house out in Seacliff. But like I saw that and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And there are other like athletes, musicians, developers they're not like famous. Like I know who they are, but they're not like famous, but they're very well off.
And if those deals come together, if like they come to you, it's like, yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be the case in every market, but if you're putting the kind of stuff out, like they care about new restaurants as much as we do, or like cool bars or whatever. Like they eat, they like to have fun. Like none of this is like super specific to a particular type of audience. Like everybody wants to know what's coming soon, food wise or bar wise or whatever, or event wise in their city.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of turning the corner now to like YouTube. Curious, like what's your take on like short form versus long form?
I think that you should do both. And I think you should leverage them to work for each other. I think YouTube is a much higher converting type of content. It gets way less from a view standpoint, like on an average video basis compared to Instagram. Mm-hmm. But somebody watching on YouTube, yes, things do get fed. Like there are feeds for YouTube, but a lot of it is very intentional, like a Google search. Like they're looking specifically for videos about the city because they are going to move here. And as a result, they are seeing my videos, watching my videos, and then they're more likely to reach out. And the watch time is so much higher. Like an entire Instagram video, maybe it's 45 seconds, whatever. Like an average watch time, 3, 4, 5 minutes on YouTube is like them seeing 10 of your Instagram videos or whatever it is. Like it's a completely different beast. And where I think it's really effective is using your maybe better performing from like a view standpoint or engagement standpoint platform to feed your other one. So directing people from your Instagram or from your TikTok to your YouTube, or from YouTube Shorts to your YouTube, so that you can engage with people who are probably interested in different ways. Like it takes a lot of, like it's rare for somebody to see one thing once and then in any sales business, reach out for that sale. Like you need a lot of touches in different ways. It can't just be through a green screen video about a new restaurant. Like it has to be a bunch of different things. So getting them to engage in a completely different style of content, especially one that can like provide a lot more information or a lot more value, because you can have a 25-minute YouTube video. I cannot have a 25-minute Instagram reel, and it probably wouldn't do well. So you just get a different type of engagement that I think helps make that ultimate sell more likely to occur.
Yeah, and there's just more time on brand
Yeah.
when they're listening to you for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Have you found like the people reaching out, it's like they're kind of at a different place, whether it's like they trust you more, or like they're already convinced of working with you?
I think, well, definitely on the trust, being convinced to work with you more. I think from YouTube, like it's very rare for somebody to reach out to me from YouTube who is interviewing other people. It's very rare. Usually by the time they've reached out, the decision is made. I also think that the people who are reaching out from YouTube are closer to transacting. I think like if they have spent 50 hours watching anything they possibly could about different neighborhoods in San Francisco, like they're moving here. And so when they reach out after that, it's like we need to move by the beginning of the school year, or, wife is pregnant, we want to move before she has a baby, like whatever it is. Like, yes, there are people who are they just want to learn. Maybe they're a year away, whatever. It's not always instant. You still need to have like your methods of staying in touch, whatever that may be. But I think more people from YouTube are closer to transacting than some of the like short form people are, because it's different being like fed the content versus like actively searching for it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've probably heard this because I'm sure you've talked to a handful of agents now more often. But like one of the things that people specifically ask about YouTube is like, I don't live in like a big city. I don't live in a relocation market. But even the people relocating nowadays is much smaller than it was like 3 to 5 years ago. And they're worried that they don't know if they'll reach like a local audience necessarily on YouTube. I don't know if you see something.
I feel like, well, I think the good thing about YouTube, I think it's really hard to get business from like Instagram or TikTok if your videos aren't reaching very many people. But on YouTube, like you really don't need crazy performing videos to hit and to like have that conversion. Like you might not be in a heavy like relocation market, but people are coming from somewhere. It's, people don't grow, like there are people who grow up in a very small town, never leave and stay there. But most towns, they're not like that. And there are ways that you can create, like videos don't have to be relocation based. Yep. Like everything that I'm talking about in terms of restaurants, bars, developments, parks, events, whatever, everywhere like is having those things. And if you live in a small town that doesn't, well then where are people eating? They're going somewhere. They're hanging out with friends. They're doing something. So like there's ways to, I think, hit a local audience without having a heavy relocation target. Is it going to be as effective? I don't know. I don't have that like personal experience to say that, because I live in a place that is very like heavily trafficked to or from, but it doesn't have to be just people looking to move from out of the city into the city. You could target people leaving the city. Like, where are they going? Are people leaving somewhere in Marin and moving to the city, or are they going to LA, whatever it is? Like, you can talk about that and then be a referral source potentially. Like, there are other ways to do it.
Yeah. And looking at like your YouTube, there's a good amount like crossover between like the topics of you talk about still the same like future focused development stuff that's evolving and changing the city, as well as like the different areas and neighborhoods of SF. Can you talk through like how do you think through the topics of what you want to post on YouTube?
I think I like to use the short form as like a test for how things will do. Like if I post a video on TikTok and it does pretty well, I can be pretty confident that it's going to do well on Instagram. And if it does well on both of these platforms, then I can be pretty confident if I structure it the right way that it's probably going to do well on YouTube too. Like if something is very shareable on one platform, it'll be very shareable on the other. So like a lot of, and I'm posting a video every single day or a piece of news every single day, sometimes 2 in one day on these platforms, whereas YouTube it's a once a week thing. So I have so much more data available to me to figure out, okay, this type of video hits, so I'm going to make a video about that. So I might make a 45-second video about this new development, a separate 45-second video about this development. And when I find 5 that like crushed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put all 5 of those in one video on YouTube, and I have the scripts basically ready. I don't have to spend more than 2 minutes maybe on each development. I could, but you know, depending on what stage they're at, there might not be enough material to do that.
Yeah.
But I basically take 5 very high performing videos and put it all into one video, and those usually, at least so far, have done very well. Like the new construction stuff, going actually to the site and showing the work in progress, showing the renderings, talking about what it would be like to live there, that does very well. It's just the more you post, the more information you learn about what works and doesn't work. Certain things are going to work for me that aren't going to work for somebody else, and you kind of just adapt, and you can port that over to other platforms and be successful.
So if all this stuff in the podcast sounds great, but you don't have any time and you know you need help with your marketing, we helped grow over 30 of the top real estate YouTube channels across the country, build local newsletters and build local brands and manage everything completely full service. So if you want to talk marketing strategy or just know how you can profit more from your marketing, just click the link in the description below, book a strategy call, and we could talk about how you can profit more from your marketing.
Really quick, because YouTube is kind of its own beast, and like we kind of talked about, like a 25-minute video at the beginning. Like some people probably heard that and was like, just in their head about a 25-minute video.
YouTube is a beast. Like it's so much work. I mean, it becomes easier like anything the more you do, but like, yeah, a 20-minute like quick and dirty reel, if I'm doing that for YouTube, there's a lot more thought and more production. Like most of my videos, I still am filming it myself. Like I have a drone that I use that I think anybody who's doing like neighborhood videos needs to get one. Like it makes everything so much better.
Yeah.
And you know, I do that stuff myself. So, you know, over time, I have developed like a very robust library of city content where like I could do a video that doesn't require me to go film anything, just myself. And that's great. But it's still to write out a script, to go film it, that's several hours right there. And that's even maybe for like a 7 or 8 minute video. Like it takes a lot of time. That's why barely any people do it. It takes forever. I started doing it fairly close to when I got my license. When I had no business, all I had was time. So I had time to like get good at Instagram, get good at TikTok, get good at YouTube, like whatever methodology you are choosing to generate your leads. It doesn't have to be social media. You have to get good at it. So you have to put in the time. And I had nothing but time because I had no business that was occupying me. And by the time I started getting business from it, I was already like proficient in these things where it wasn't like a drain. Like I could not do the amount of content that I do on Instagram if it took me 2.5 hours to film every single reel.
Yeah.
Literally impossible. But because I can now film 10 in 4 hours and have a week and a half's worth of content in half a day, I now have those 10 days to go do other things. So yeah, YouTube is definitely a different beast. It takes way more commitment, way more time. It's harder to speak for that long. You have a lot more bad takes. There's just so much information you have to put out there, but like it's worth it, especially because so few people do it. Almost every single agent probably has an Instagram. Are they doing it in a way that is going to generate business and be successful? Probably not. But every single person is on that platform. 99.9% of them are not even on this other platform, setting aside whether they're doing it right in the first place. So it's just a very easy way to stand out.
Yeah, and I think having that drone, the B-roll library is pretty underrated.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned when it comes to like getting good at like YouTube, like what did you have to learn to get good at YouTube?
It was just like, if you're scripting out a reel or TikTok, whatever it is, like the structure does matter. Like you might have 30 seconds on a YouTube video to hook somebody versus 2 or 3 seconds on a reel. Mm-hmm. So how you phrase that hook might be different. But you still have to hook them. So figuring that out over a longer time frame was something to learn. Where to put calls to action is something like, at the end of every Instagram video, I'm like, maybe it's follow me for more San Francisco news. Maybe it's reach out to me if you want a tour of something. But I can't wait till the end of a 20-minute video to tell someone to do something because probably most people are not watching the full video. And you don't need people to watch the full video to have a successful YouTube video. Obviously it helps, but people might only be watching the first 30% of it. Like if you're like me, like I don't actually consume YouTube much at all. Like I just don't have the attention span for it. I need 30 seconds and I'm like done. So like I'm not the type that can sit for 20 minutes and just watch something straight through, even if it's the literal most fascinating topic and super on point and something that I'm definitely interested in. I will not sit still and watch that 20 minutes of content. So like you're mixing in different areas. Maybe it's 3 minutes in, 10 minutes in, you're putting different calls to action. You're asking people to subscribe. You're asking people to go watch a different video you've made. Or like you talk about a topic for 2 minutes and you're like, by the way, I have like a 15-minute video on this. If you want to learn more, like, I'll link it below. Or if you're moving to the city and you have no clue where you want to live, or you want to know what's going on because you read all the news that San Francisco is going to the dogs and you're scared, like hit me up. Like you want to do that at different points. So like figuring out that is like, where do you do that? Do you do that right in the beginning? Do you do that a couple of minutes in? Like what makes the most sense? Still figuring that out. Like it's a constant process.
Yeah. And that's the thing about like YouTube, like it's constantly changing. So you just have to learn, iterate. So when you look at YouTube and you look at Instagram, long form, short form, you look at like email that you're doing as well, like where's your head at around like the future of kind of what you're trying to build and like what you're doing and what you want to do in like the next few years too?
It's a good question. I really haven't thought like that much ahead. At some point, I would like to have at least my YouTube videos be like professionally shot. I think that would make them more engaging. Like I shoot most of them myself standing in a park with a tripod, and like I have a bunch of B-roll to splice in to make it engaging. Mm-hmm. But it would be a lot better if I'm doing a video about X neighborhood if I was actually in the neighborhood and showing the neighborhood. You mix in B-roll too, but you can talk about things in person and point to things you just can't do if you're, solo. So there's kind of like a leveling up of sorts that I would like to do. And I would like to have somebody that is like constantly feeding me like a curated set of news that I can be like, yes, no, and like have working at least outlines of things for short form. Like I do everything on short form. I do myself, literally everything. So it would be nice if I didn't have to spend an hour every single morning reading every single news publication. I still am going to read the news. I need to read the articles that I'm talking about to know what's going on, but to not have to sift through things. And I'd probably miss less things if like someone's job was to curate the news for me, and like have like I do all the posting myself. Like that's a lot of work. You post it on Instagram. You got to post it on TikTok. Oh, I'm gonna put that on YouTube Shorts. Oh, that means I gotta do all the tagging for YouTube as well. Like, I can spend like once every like 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be like, okay, I have 15 reels that aren't on YouTube Shorts yet. I need to go in and upload them, fill out the captions, do all the tagging. Like that takes maybe 5 minutes of video. It's not like that big of a lift, but when you do it for 15, 20, like that's a lot of your day. Yeah. And it's so mundane, and like you don't need to be like that's not like you don't have to be me to do that. There are people who are probably better at it than I am too. So it's just like having the little things to kind of just give me that little bit extra time. Like if I had an extra hour, I could make more content, or I could make this content better, or I could have one more conversation with somebody, or it's just like little ways to get my time. I'm not at the point yet where I am like, where like I need a team or like necessarily want one, maybe one day. But I also think like it's hard when like you're the face of something to hand it to somebody else. Cause if somebody is reaching out to me because they've watched 7 hours of my content on YouTube, like they want to work with me. So what am I going to do? There are people who are very successful at like having a team while being like the face of it all. And like, there are ways to do it, but it's like, I'd like to get to that point eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm a while from there.
So safe to say you're investing a good amount of like time, money, energy back into like media in the future. So
yeah, I think it will always be like media first. Yeah. I think it's just the scale is just too great. And as you scale, the scale's greater. Like it happens so much faster the larger you get. And so I'm just like continuing to feed the beast.
Nice.
Yeah. And still like my goal is for like nobody to be able to catch me. Like I want to be ahead of everyone on all platforms in my city, and I want to stay that way. Will I? I have no idea. There are definitely people who are making content, doing very well, growing faster than I did.
I don't know if there's anyone growing faster or bigger.
Not yet, but there are people not like bigger, but there are people who have got to where they've got faster than I did. So it's just like seeing what they're doing and incorporating it into what I'm doing, and just trying to like I'm a competitive person. I don't like losing. So I'm just like, it actually doesn't really matter like how someone else is doing. It really just matters how I'm doing. But like everybody measures themselves against other people, whether it's good or bad. So I just want to keep growing what I'm already doing.
And really quick, just before we get into a few rapid fire questions, like a lot of people would be surprised that you're posting YouTube Shorts because there's like a thought that YouTube Shorts are bad for the audience. Like, what have you kind of seen?
I think if the videos are related, and on like brand with what you are talking about, I don't see how it's problematic. Like
Yeah.
they are accessible via different like methods, different algorithms, but if you have a 30-second short about some new development that's coming and a 7-minute video about that same thing, if someone's interested in one, they're probably going to be interested in the other, and you can relate them to each other. So you can still build the same audience, or maybe they're different audiences that are interested in the same thing, but it's just another platform. I have not, at least personally, experienced shorts being somehow like defeating my progress on long form. It's just, I think they're separate, but I think they are complementary.
Yeah, the algorithm nowadays, especially with AI, is like super smart. It's gonna feed you what you want regardless. So
Yeah, and some people on shorts, they're not on YouTube, or if they're on YouTube, they're not on shorts. So like it's just capturing more potential people. Like, and why not? Like, yes, you have to add tags to, you don't have to, but you should add tags to a YouTube short. So yes, there's an extra step, but like you've already filmed the video. So like, why not just throw it on there? It takes an extra couple minutes and you're reaching thousands of people who otherwise maybe wouldn't see the video. So why not?
yeah, exactly. And if people want more, where should they go to follow you?
They should check me out on YouTube. Go to my Instagram. All of the links are to each other in those things. I have a TikTok as well. Like most of what is on Instagram is on my TikTok as well. So you can go check those out.
Nice. So a few rapid fire. You're at 27 million for the year currently. If you look at like your leads as like a pizza or a pie, how's that broken up in between just everything that you do, percentage wise, roughly estimates?
It's pretty even between, well, for this year, I would say most of my business has come from YouTube this year. But overall, like for the 2 years that I've had business, it's pretty equal. It's like a third YouTube, a third Instagram, and the rest like either referrals or just like people that I know.
Yeah.
So it is 2/3 like
Social
media
yeah.
based, and then the rest like people I know. But it's interesting how it's kind of broken down pretty equally, at least so far.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big chunk too. 2/3 being media.
Yeah.
Makes sense to invest.
Yeah, 100%. It's working. So I'm gonna keep throwing my time at it.
Is there like any tech or software that it doesn't have to be necessarily used for like business, maybe personal, you just find you use every single day, you're just like couldn't live without?
I use Superhuman for email,
Nice.
which I love just because it's just so fast. Like once you figure out like the shortcuts, you can just get through
Email
your
way
junk
quicker.
so much faster. And like you can unsubscribe to things so much faster. Like you just can do everything faster.
I need to go back on just for the unsubscribe.
It's so great. And it's like maybe I'm saving 1/10 of a second instead of like moving my mouse to click something versus doing it on the keyboard. But like how many emails are we going through a day? Like it adds up and you save so much time and you can organize it a little better and just make it more efficient. Like that was the best switch. Like another agent told me that he uses it and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I was like, oh, this is great. You just get through all your crap like so fast.
Nice. Yeah, I need to go back to that.
Yeah.
Is there anyone like, doesn't have to be inside the real estate industry, could be outside, maybe someone you follow for inspiration, ideas, content, maybe they're just really good personal or professional content wise, podcast, book, could be any medium.
I like to cook, so I follow like a lot of cooking, I guess influencers on like social.
Nice.
Like I love Matty Matheson. I think he's hilarious. And he his content is great. His food is great. I have all of his cookbooks, but he's like, his personality is wild, and it's in all of his videos. Like that's something that I think like I do not do well, and it's like I don't put my like how I really act, or like how I like truly talk, or like my personality does not necessarily come out in my videos. It does in like little bits, but not like he does it. Like he just wears it on his sleeves, and he's like so outrageous, but like that's why that stuff works. So I really like his videos.
Probably you get that's probably like good inspiration outside the industry to see like how he creates it, like how he is on camera too.
Yeah. And he has like, and there are other like cooking people who like, there are some people who have like crews and do it very professionally, like super heavily edited, that are like awesome. There's this British guy, Sam, who has like the way that he creates his videos is insane, and he cooks the most elaborate things, and it's awesome. But then you have other people who literally just put their camera like over their stove, and it's like the most ghetto looking video, but they're still like walking you through everything and showing you what they're doing. Like the end result from like a value perspective is the same. And they have millions of followers. Like there's just different like styles that people do it. So it's cool to see like different things. Like I would love my videos to look like this.
Yeah.
I'm not, at least yet, ready to invest that to get it to that point at some point for sure. But you also like don't need to. Who else? Like there's some people in like the kind of tech / like home design space that I really like, who
Nice.
do a good job of like just showing people how they like live, but through the lens of like how to style their like this type of room or something like that. But it's like using their own space.
Is there a name that comes to mind, or
Ben Taylor in New York does really good.
I think I've seen him.
He's great.
Yeah.
And he also is like big on YouTube as well. And he does a lot of like vlog style, like come with me on my vacation to wherever, or like I'm shopping for a new place, like, just come along with me. And it's very like informal. But it's more, it's personal.
Yeah.
I think his content is great.
Nice.
So I would love to like emulate that more from like a stylistic perspective. A lot of the issue is just like access to stuff in the city. It's not, it's hard to get into spaces and have an entire day where I can just have free reign over a place. But I would love to do more of that. And I think it would kind of lead to like a new type of content, both short and long form.
Nice. And last one before the last question is wow, I just had a brain fart. Okay, I remember. Is there like either an underrated AI that you use, or an rated way that you use AI that maybe other people don't?
I am like so bad at using AI. The only thing that I use, like I pay for like a premium ChatGPT subscription, and I use that to create captions for things.
Nice.
Like summarizing articles. Like I used to use the free one, and it was just like riddled with errors constantly. Yeah. So I was like, this is crazy. Like, where is the information coming from that's just like wrong? Just get it from here and it should be right. But for some reason it's not. So like paying for that has been helpful. And
it's
it
like
just
a streaming service. You get sucked into paying.
Exactly. But it's worth it. I mean,
yeah, it's worth it.
I don't have to.
I say it because I have a lot. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, there are probably a million ways that I can and should be using AI that I'm not. And that's something that like I'm aware of and need to like learn, because that's just the future. But that's like really the only AI thing that I use. And it's really just for summarizing articles so that I can use that summary for my captions. And it saves a ton of time.
Yeah. AI has made everything simpler
Yeah.
nowadays. So with everything that you've seen being in the professional services world of law and real estate now, if you're going to speak to like every business owner and talk about like why is a media first strategy important, what would you say?
I think that it's the easiest way to sell without selling. Like I don't have to act salesy to convince people to work with me. Like I don't have to actively pitch people. You can just put information out in the world in the exact way you want it, and it'll resonate with some people and it won't with others. Nobody's going to be the right person for everybody, and it just naturally brings you in. So you don't have to sell at all. If you're sending, postcards out there or whatever, like you can apply that to that too. You could just send something about a cool new restaurant that's opening that has nothing to do with real estate, but it's just easier through a video medium to communicate information in a way that is like, it's just pure information. There's no catch. There's nothing. And like the money eventually just flows from that.